Nice, dude. Nice. Yes, Steamer! Nice. Hello, and welcome to Hartland. This is one of the best climbing areas on Vancouver Island where I live, and there's tons of cool climbing here, but today I want to talk about one specific climb called Trans-Siberian Express. Now, this climb is really cool to me because it's part of a cave system made up of super breakable rock, and that can make the cave look like kind of a giant choss pile, and it means that most of the holds are super sharp, but it also means that there are tons of options for hand and foot holds on any one climb, so it lends itself to some really cool movement. And this also makes the route a really cool way to see how people with different styles and different body types can climb the same climb in very different ways. So, with that in mind, I thought it might be fun to compare my beta with two of my friends, Jaren and Dimitri. Jaren's up first because I feel like he's just about the best example of a classic climber. He's got strong fingers, good footwork, great technique, so keep an eye on him for the best example of a typical excellent climber's approach to this climb. On the other hand, I lean a little bit more towards power and away from technique than Jaren, so my beta is a little bit more powerful and just fits my body a little bit better. Last but not least, Dimitri is a hugely powerful and dynamic climber, so he has a very exciting approach to the climb. The climb starts on a juggy, jagged edge at the base of the cave. From there, you have to make your way up a jagged line of broken holds towards an absolutely horrible crimp just at the start of the cave's roof. Now, Jaren and I both start this route very similarly. We start on the juggy handhold and pull up right to another pretty good handhold, get a left heel on, and bring our left hands up to a juggy pinch. From there, you set up compression between your two legs and bump your hands up that shelf I was talking about earlier. Jaren does it in 2, I do it in 3. Now, Dimitri has a super different beta to the rest of us. Rather than using his right hand up that jagged edge, he actually goes out to the left first and throws straight to a side pull here. It's only once he's caught that side pull that he bounces his hand up the right hand edge to grab the crimp, ready for the next crux move. For Jaren, the crux of the route involves getting himself into a very tight box, using an absolutely heinous drop knee on a hold down here. Once he's done that, he gets his hips in close to the wall and moves to this pinch here, which isn't bad, but isn't nearly as positive as this side pull, which is much further out. Then he has to switch his feet on the hold down here and get a very high heel. And then he throws left hand up to the crack here, this kind of juggy hold up here. Now, I can't get anywhere near inside as tight of a box as Jaren can. My hips just don't work that way, and there's more of me. So I have to rely on an approach which uses a little bit maybe less obvious technique and which uses more power, but which allows me to stay in a wider box. So I keep my right foot on a juggy foothold back there. And it's not bad, but it is sloped downwards. So when I'm throwing out backwards to the side pull as I am, it's quite difficult to maintain tension. So that was the first crux for me, was working out how to throw out and catch here without letting my right foot slide off and spinning off down that way. Now, once I'd done that, I had to get my left foot on and then catch my momentum as I let my right foot go before throwing it back on here and going for a very powerful move where I went from this side pull and this crimp here, very high foot, and then throw out to the same jug that Jaren catches. For Dimitri, the biggest crux seems to be a huge huck out to the right-hand ledge where he can't really keep his feet on because he's moving from so far left. From there, the hardest part of the climbing is done, and all three of us basically finish the climb the same way. We get our hands into a fairly good crimp rail at the back of a crack on the lip of the cave, and then throw our left hand up to a nice pinch. We place our feet to the left to stop us swinging off into the bushes, and then we huck for the finishing jug. I thought it would be a nice way to round things out to finish by watching me and Jaren send goes side by side, so that you can more directly compare just how different our betas are. So there we have it. That was Trans-Siberian Express. Perhaps not the most aesthetic line, but I think a really, really cool climb and home to some of the funnest movement I've found on the island. I feel like this climb captures what makes outdoor climbing so special to me, and that's the fact that people with such different body shapes and body types can come outside and find ways to express themselves and their uniqueness while still kind of finding that outdoor climbing community, enjoying the outdoors and being with friends.